Members' motion with no legislative effect. Mr. Chan Yuet-ming will move a motion on taking forward red tourism and the panda economy in Hong Kong. 3 members will move amendments to the motion. This council will proceed to a joint debate on the motion and the amendments. Later, I will first call upon Mr. Chan Yuet-ming to speak and move the motion. Then I will call upon Mr. Kenneth LEUNG, Mr. Stanley NG, and Ms. Chan Yuet-ming to speak in sequence, but they may not move the amendments at this stage. The joint debate now begins. Members who wish to speak, please press the request to speak button. I will now call upon Mr. Chan Yuet-ming to speak and move the motion. Mr. Chan Yuet-ming. Thank you, President. President, I move that the motion as printed on the agenda be passed. I thank the Secretary for coming. My motion is taking forward red tourism and the panda economy in Hong Kong. We all know that President Xi Jinping delivered a speech saying that we should expedite the development of a tourism powerhouse so that we can facilitate the development of our economy. To showcase our strengths, I believe that red resources showcase the history of our country, especially since the Opium War in 1842. This is our invaluable spiritual asset. Looking at the history of Hong Kong, we have rich red resources. In the past, these resources are scattered and we don't attach a lot of importance to them. However, they have great potential. I think that we should make better use of them. That's why in this motion, I said that we should develop a heritage trail for the war of resistance involving Dongjiang Column. This Dongjiang Column was led by a ruling party of our country. They comprise Hong Kong or youth from Hong Kong. They are students, they are teachers, leaders from trade unions, as well as Chinese from the Southeast Asian countries. They defend the nation in Hong Kong. And with a E-River column has been formed. And we have a Hong Kong Independent Battalion under the Dongjiang Column. I hope that the Secretary and the relevant departments and bureaus can consolidate all of these relics so that they can complement each other. By that, we will be able to attract local and international tourists to come to Hong Kong. Anti-fascist forces involve different countries, include US, UK, and some other Western countries. But some of these countries forgot about their experience and helped the Japanese army in World War II. I think that we should attract more tourists to come to Hong Kong so that they can recall their memory in order to safeguard world peace. I'm sure that you've heard President Xi saying that with strong belief, we'll have a future. This is the 75th anniversary of the establishment of the People's Republic of China. We have organized a series of events and activities that received some positive feedback. 2025 marked the 80th anniversary of the victory in the War of Resistance. This has been stated in the policy address. I think that we should expand the Hong Kong Museum of the War of Resistance and Coastal Defense. The museum is very large. Dr. Starry Lee, Deputy President, is a member of the NPC-SC. The country sent a fleet of vessels to Hong Kong. I think that we could put some of these content into the Museum of War of Resistance and the Coastal Defense. And in the vicinity of the museum, we can showcase the relics of the War of Resistance. This book tells the stories of how the Hong Kong Independent Battalion of the Dongjiang Column saved the U.S. Army in Hong Kong in the airfield. I think that we can film a movie with the book. We also have books on the relics of the War of Resistance. This is another book on the history of the guerrilla force. By this, we can attract more tourists to come. However, on top of, with the history, how can we help our economy? In Harbin, on the 731 force, the provisional government make use of the history to showcase it in their museums. Tens of millions of people visited Harbin to read about the history. To learn about the modern history, we must understand more about the ruling party of our country. So I think that we should construct a museum for the history of the Communist Party of China to showcase its philosophy, founding background, history of endeavors and achievements. The reason why some superpowers invaded us was because we were weak and we were poor. Now, this is no longer the case. Now, I was talking about the history of the War of Resistance. You can visit Lantau and Sai Kung to look at the relics. Mr. Zhao Enlai and other leaders of the Communist Party, they visited Hong Kong, and there are traces of their visit throughout Hong Kong. The DAB also promoted the colored-themed tourism of blue, green, black, white, red, and gold heritage. I will not go into detail. Also, panda economy. Hong Kong is the only city with 6 panda stars. I thank the CSTB and the Tourism Commission and the China Tour Travel Agency, and I also thank the Secretary for supporting the exhibition in Tsim Sha Tsui. Now we have a Go Panda exhibition, and there are some statues of panda being displayed at various occasions in Hong Kong. With the panda craze, coupled with the 4 panda cups, they draw a lot of attention. These are our invaluable resources. I think that this will drive the development of the ocean park. Let me talk about some figures. 3.5 billion Hong Kong dollars have been generated for Japan and Korea. In Korea, they filmed a video on pandas, and they generated quite some revenue. In the interest of time, I hope that the members will give your views so that we can develop red tourism and panda economy.
I now propose the question to you that Mr. Brave Chan's motion be passed. Mr. Kenneth LEUNG. Thank you, Deputy President. I first thank Mr. Brave Chan for moving the motion on taking forward red tourism and the panda economy in Hong Kong. Panda is the national treasure. My amendments are about two areas. First, we need to enhance the diversity and quality of our tourism facilities. Second, in terms of tourism facilities with positive values like panda, we need to promote it more broadly so that visitors can understand Hong Kong and the country more when they visit us. Now, according to the UN's survey, in the next 10 years, the tourism sector will grow by 5.8% each year. Also, there is a global change to traveling. In-depth immersive tourism has replaced the traditional shopping tourism. That's why we need to seek changes and adapt to the new situation. We need to develop new tourism themes and develop new resources. Now, the red tourism and panda economy mentioned by the motion are key. Now, the history of our war of resistance against Japanese aggression can become valuable resources. Now, I attended the opening ceremony of the Hong Kong Museum of the War of Resistance and Coastal Defense, and also the Lord's House has been transformed into the Anti-Japanese War Memorial Hall. Now, the Heritage Trail, there are lots of heritage trails in Hong Kong. The government should start providing more ancillary facilities to these tourism facilities. Many war of resistance relics are located in rural areas. We need to lay the roads and establish communication network. And also we need more hostel places in the area. That's why I suggest in the amendment that we need to enhance the ancillary tourist facilities at those tourism spots and induce people and visitors to learn about the history of Hong Kong and our country during the War of Resistance. Now we need to consider the history of the Dongzhang column in the World War II era. Their footprints extended beyond Hong Kong to the Guangdong province. Now, the guerrilla forces were active in cities like Guangzhou, Dongguan, and so on. There are museums in the mainland cities of the GBA to celebrate their history. That's why we need to collaborate with other cities in the GBA in terms of ticketing arrangement, as well as transportation and synergistic developments of tourism facilities. That's how we can become a stop in the multiple destination journey. Now, the panda craze and the economic potential of panda is huge. Now, my local office also distributed panda-themed souvenirs to children. Now, besides overloading with cuteness, conservation of pandas itself is also a kind of in-depth tourism resources. If young people can help prepare food, pamper the pandas, as well as clear the poop trays for pandas, it would be a very invaluable experience for them. So in terms of development of study tours, we can consider bringing young people to the zoo and let them understand the habitats of pandas. We should make panda a theme for study tours in Hong Kong. The government should work with the Ocean Park to offer this opportunity to students overseas as well. Thank you. Mr. Stanley NG. Deputy President, I speak in support of the motion moved by Mr. Brave Chan. Red tourism is an effective tool for promoting patriotism. Developing red tourism and developing patriotic education are closely linked. Also, our tourism sector is undergoing transformation. Developing red tourism is how we can rise up to the challenge. In recent years, the development of red tourism in the mainland has been rapid. According to the Hong Kong Red Tourism Development Report 2023, last year, there were 2 billion visitors under the red tourism theme, and it generated trillions of RMB. The red tourism has become one of the tourism resources with most potential. It can collaborate, it can offer social and economic benefits. In terms of development of red tourism resources, I propose 1. Establishing a heritage trail for patriotic labor movements. 2. Launching more study tours and learning activities with local patriotic history and figures as the theme, so as to develop Hong Kong into a learning base for red tourism. And 3. Organizing scale model exhibitions on our country's armaments and selecting sites to exhibit scale models of our country's major armaments as a means of developing new patriotic military attractions. Our history in relation to the war of resistance and coastal defense serve as a link between Hong Kong people and the memory of the country. And patriotic labor movements is also a kind of patriotic movements. They are valuable resources under the red tourism theme. We shouldn't neglect these histories. Now, major labor movements include anti-colonial movements as well as patriotic movements to support the country. For example, the Hong Kong Seamen strike, Canton Hong Kong strike, and the uprising of the 2 airlines. They hold a special place in history. We need to inherit these glorious history. Now, in the mainland's red tourism routes, patriotic labor movements and museums are important resources. According to the reports issued by the Shenzhen Cultural Relics Bureau, among the top 10 red tourism routes in Guangzhou, it includes the revitalized site of the Chinese Labor Historical Museum. Now, in Hong Kong, we have the history of a seaman movement in the central and western areas. The Seamen Association's founding location is in Des Voies Road Central. Now, Mr. Chairman Hon, the chairman of the association, led seamen to march from Central to Causeway Bay. Now, the government can consider establishing monuments along the route and establish a museum showcasing patriotic labor movements. This will bring to light our glorious past and establish a foundation for patriotic education. Now, many visitors would like to know about the culture of a place. Now, with red tourism, we can educate young people that the life we have now is to be cherished. And by organizing study tours and learning activities about local patriotic figures, we can give a context to these stories. Also, coastal defense and national defense education is also an important component in patriotic education. Now, by showcasing the development of our country's armaments, we can see how hard the country's leaders have been working to make the country strong. Deputy President, now, panda economy is most famous in Sichuan, but we also have the same resources. We can't confuse red tourism and panda, which share the same pronunciation in Cantonese. I so submit. Mr. CHAN Yuet-ming. Thank you, Deputy President. I speak in support of Mr. Brave Chan's motion. I urge the government to develop our red tourism resources. In the past, we suffered a lot of hardship we were occupied by the UK, the Hong Kong Island and the Kowloon Peninsula was ceded to the UK, to the British government, and the new territories was leased for 100 years. Now, the Six-Day War In the Six-Day War, we suffered a huge loss. Now, during the War of Resistance, the Dongjiang column was active in Hong Kong. Now, the Shuttlecock Anti-Japanese War Memorial Hall, it was the Lord's House, it was the former Lord's House. Back then, it was the base of the Dongjiang column. Now, I once suggested integrating our heritage resources to forge red tourism routes so that visitors can walk on these paths in memory of the efforts made by the Independence Battalion of the Dongjiang column. This can enhance their pride in the country and a sense of national identity. Now, these are my suggestions. First, we need to make reference to the practice of the Shenzhen government. Now, at the Liantang River in Shenzhen, the Shenzhen government has developed a multi-functional route combining leisure, transport, and culture. Now, the riverside, the 3.1-kilometer long riverside would be turned into a base for patriotic education. There are 4 historical landmarks showcasing the history of the city. The Shenzhen government focused on the river. The Hong Kong government should focus on our mountains. We should develop the Dongjiang Battalion Heritage Trail. Many organizations have proposed plans to achieve that. Now, we have visited the Lord's House, Wu Kao Tang Memorial Monument, and so on. Along the route, we can enjoy the beautiful scenery. However, the government hasn't taken on board our suggestions. With the government's support, we can enhance the impact of these heritage trails. On the other hand, there are frontier-closed areas near the heritage trails. So we need the government to adjust the areas so that we can fulfill the potential of these heritage trails. Third, we need to provide ancillary transport facilities for red tourism attractions. Many of these are located in rural areas. They are only served by single-lane roads. The government should provide additional parking spaces for coaches near these tourism facilities. For example, the Shuttlecock Road next to the Lord's House, the path is so narrow that passengers need to unboard and walk on the path themselves. We need places for coaches to park and unboard their passengers as well. The heritage trails are hours long. Along the route, there should be water filling stations and toilets, as well as commercial facilities for serving the visitors. Thank you, Deputy President.
Secretary for Culture, Sports and Tourism. Thank you, Deputy President. I'm grateful to Mr. Brave Chen for moving this motion and Mr. Kenneth LEUNG, Mr. Stanley NG, and Ms. Chan Yuet-ming for their amendments. Now we have the opportunity to discuss the details of promoting red tourism and panda tourism in the Legislative Council. Tourism is one of the key drivers in our economy. Cross-boundary travel resumed in February 2023. Hong Kong's tourism industry has been moving at full speed towards recovery since, with a steady growth in visitor arrivals. 40.25 million visitor arrivals were recorded from January to November 2024, 34% up from last year. Half of them were overnight visitors. We thank the Chinese People's Government for the support. Since the resumption and expansion of multiple entry individual visit scheme for Shenzhen, the average number of mainland visitor arrivals was 97,000, about 14% up from the November average figure. Last Saturday, that is the 14th of December, mainland visitor arrivals reached a record high of 161,000. That is 43% up from the November weekend average. In addition, of the 3.57 million visitor arrivals in November, non-mainland visitors accounted for more than 1 million, a record high for a single month after the full resumption of normal travel and a year-on-year increase of nearly 20%. As announced by the Chief Executive in the policy address this year, the government will develop Hong Kong into a premier tourism destination through innovative thinking and making better use of our rich and unique resources, developing tourism products and initiatives with local and international characteristics, and consolidating the attractiveness of traditional tourism to develop the concept of tourism is everywhere in Hong Kong. We have the foundation to develop red tourism products. I also thank the Central People's Government for gifting us 2 giant pandas this year. Together with the birth of 2 baby pandas in Hong Kong earlier, there is a panda craze across the city. The CSTB will continue to promote the development of diversified tourism products to attract visitors and bring various opportunities to Hong Kong. We can generate significant economic benefits in Hong Kong. Red tourism is a thematic tourism activity to organize and receive tourists for remembrance, study, and visit using the memorial sites and landmarks formed by the great achievements made by the Chinese Communist Party under its leadership during the Revolution and the war period, and with the connotation of the revolutionary history, revolutionary deeds, and revolutionary spirit embodied therein. Chinese culture has a long and profound history. History and cultural relics are excellent entry points for the public and tourists to learn more about our country. We have a lot of historical relics and museum resources for the promotion of red tourism. The CSTB announced the Arts, Cultural, and Creative Industries Development Blueprint on the 26th of November this year, setting out 4 directions of development, which include the promotion of traditional Chinese culture and the development of our unique cultural contents. Mr. Brave Chan proposed to build a museum to introduce the Communist Party of China and the modern history of our country as well as Hong Kong. This coincides with our preparation for the establishment of a museum to introduce the development and achievements of our country. Full steam ahead. The Chief Executive has already proposed in the 2023 policy address that the government will set up museums to introduce the development and achievements of our country, covering areas such as national history, politics, economic development, and culture in order to deepen the public's understanding of our country and national affairs. We introduced the development and planning of museums under the Leisure and Cultural Services Department at the meeting of the panel on Home Affairs, Culture and Sports last week. We highlighted the specific work in preparing for the establishment of a dedicated museum. It will regularly organize diversified educational and exchange activities on a regular basis, introducing to the public and visitors Chinese culture as well as the history and information of our country and the Communist Party of China. The government attaches great importance to the history of the War of Resistance against Japan. Over the years, the Culture, Sports and Tourism Bureau and the LCSD have been giving the public an accurate understanding of this period of history and the contributions of the martyrs of the war through various channels, including the organization of exhibitions and commemorative activities and so on. The Hong Kong Museum of Coastal Defense under the LCSD was renamed the Hong Kong Museum of the War of Resistance and Coastal Defense on the 3rd of September, which is the Victory Day of Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression. To highlight the theme of the War of Resistance, the museum has combined 4 exhibition halls on the history of the War of Resistance into a War of Resistance galleries, showcasing the history of the War of Resistance and the activities of the Hong Kong and Kowloon Independent Brigade of the Dongjiang Column behind enemy lines, highlighting its important contributions. The museum is now displaying a thematic exhibition entitled Brother in Arms, War of Resistance Activities of the Dongjiang Column in Shenzhen and Hong Kong, which provides an in-depth introduction to the Dongjiang Column's resistance activities in both Shenzhen and Hong Kong. The exhibition is co-organized by the Hong Kong Museum of the War of Resistance and Coastal Defense, the Shenzhen Dongjiang Column Memorial Hall, and the Chinese Cultural Celebrities Rescue Memorial Hall. This shows our close collaboration with the relevant units in the mainland. Our military exhibitions, the Hong Kong Museum of the War of Resistance and Coastal Defense has set up a gallery entitled People's Liberation Army Hong Kong Garrison Exhibition. It introduces the Hong Kong Garrison's takeover of the Hong Kong's military installation since 1997 and its role in our defense, which has been an important cornerstone in safeguarding our prosperity and stability. The exhibition is supplemented by historical pictures, artifacts, models of PLA vessels, videos, and interactive installations for the public to gain an understanding of the evolution of the country's armaments in order to boost the public's national confidence and patriotism. Apart from exhibitions, the Hong Kong Museum of the War of Resistance and Coastal Defense has also launched a series of activities including teachers' activities, thematic talks, workshops, National Day flag raising ceremony, car-marching performance, and outreach activities to enhance the public's interest in and understanding of the history of the War of Resistance, especially among young people. To make the museum an even better educational base for the local history of the War of Resistance, it is necessary to combine government public resources with the power of the community to promote its development. The museum is now launching the artifact collection campaign to encourage the public to donate historical artifacts and photos related to the War of Resistance and the Dongjiang Column. The collected artifacts will not only enrich the museum's collection, but may also be displayed in the museum's exhibitions. In fact, to commemorate the contributions of the anti-Japanese martyr to the victory of the war and the victory in the War of Resistance against Japanese aggression, the LCSD has been organizing various activities to promote the patriotic spirit of the public around the anniversary of the victory in the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japan, including the free thematic screenings of the Memories of the War of National Resistance by the Hong Kong Film Archive, which feature a selection of films related to the War of Resistance for the public to gain a better understanding of the meaningful period of history while enjoying the films. In addition, the LCSD will organize seminars and introduce books on war against Japanese aggression in libraries. Next year marks the 80th anniversary of the victory in the War of Resistance. The LCSD is actively preparing a series of activities, including making good use of the recently revamped Hong Kong Museum of the War of Resistance and Coastal Defense to enhance the spirit of patriotism and attract visitors to the museum. There are historical relics of the war all over Hong Kong, so we have been actively developing historical and heritage trails related to War of Resistance and modern historical events to help to promote patriotic education. The Tourism Commission, in collaboration with the AFCD, has launched enhancement of hiking trails since 2018 to improve the tourism facilities of the 20 popular hiking trails and country parks with tourism potential. The project includes Lion Rock Historic Walk, Shingwun War Relics Trail, and Lok Keng War Relics Trail. They have much to do with the history of the War of Resistance and will enhance hikers' understanding of the history of our country and Hong Kong. In December 2023, the AFCD completed the improvement works of the Lion Rock Historic Walk. The AFCD also set up explanatory signs on the battlefield relics of Robin's Nest Country Park and the War Resistance stories of the villagers in the vicinity. The AFCD has also produced a video for broadcasting on social media platforms so as to enable the public to know more about the history of the War of Resistance in Robin's Nest Country Park. Mr. Brave Chan proposed to enhance artificial intelligence in attractions and exhibition galleries to provide visitors with an immersive experience. We subscribe to this in view. We have also collaborated smart elements in various attractions and tourism projects to ensure a rich and convenient experience for visitors in exploring tourist hotspots in the city. In particular, the AFCD enhanced the Enjoy Hiking website in 2019 to provide detailed information on hiking trails and scenic spots, as well as information in 4 languages, namely Chinese, English, Japanese, and Korean, on the featured scenic spots for the local public and tourists. The website consolidates and introduces the characteristics of the hiking trails and scenic spot, the attraction along the trails and transportation information, helping the public and tourists to plan their routes. The website introduces Lion Rock Historic Walk and the Robin's Nest Country Trail, which are related to the history of the War of Resistance, to let the public explore the historic relics of the War of Resistance in the district. Other hiking trails, such as Lion Rock Historic Walk, are also equipped with explanatory signs with QR codes linked to the thematic webpage of the Enhancement of Hiking Trails and Tourism Commission to make it easy for visitors to obtain further information. In addition, for the exhibitions of the Hong Kong Museum of the War of Resistance and Coastal Defense, apart from exhibition boards, historical pictures, and exhibits, the museum also provides interactive installations, videos, and oral histories of veterans to enable visitors to learn more about the history of the period through different media and enrich their visiting experience. In addition, the Tourism Commission has provided the funding support for the Travel Industry Council of Hong Kong to launch Deeper into Hong Kong itinerary design competition in August 2023 to encourage travel agents to design in-depth tour itineraries with different themes, including national history theme in-depth tour itineraries. TIC and other organizations will continue to promote the award-winning itineraries and encourage the trade to develop more thematic tourism products. This year marks the 75th anniversary of the founding of the PRC, so we would like to express our sincere gratitude to the central government for once again gifting a pair of giant pandas to the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, which fully demonstrates its care and support for the Hong Kong SAR. Meanwhile, the pair of giant pandas Yin Yang and Lok Lok, presented to the Hong Kong SAR by the central government in 2007, also gave birth to the first pair of adorable giant pandas in Hong Kong. They are two pieces of wonderful news. The two pandas, On and Ke have been officially introduced to the public since the 8th of December. The public and tourists can watch the live broadcast of the two giant pandas at designated times on the park's dedicated website to learn more about the pandas' cuddly side and their daily life. The two baby panda born to Ying Ying are expected to be introduced to the public in the first quarter of 2025 at the earliest. To promote the joyful atmosphere of welcoming giant pandas in Hong Kong, together with the Hong Kong TV and Ocean Park, we will organize a series of promotional activities under the theme of Come and Enjoy a Pandastic Hong Kong. The new giant panda family will play the role of Hong Kong tourism ambassador to introduce the Hong Kong's travel experience of traveling to everywhere and to attract tourists from around the world. Deputy President, I will carefully listen to members in relation to this motion. I will reply in a moment. Thank you, Deputy President.
主席，我發言係
Mr. Chan Yuet-ming. Thank you, Madam Deputy. I speak in support of the motion moved by Mr. Chan Yuet-ming that is taking forward red tourism and the panda economy in Hong Kong. The multiple entry visas for Shenzhen citizens has been launched, and the number of Shenzhen visitors coming to Hong Kong has reached new height. So I think that we should develop more travel attractions so that we can drive economy. Red tourism and panda economy are two of the ways for us to promote our tourism. These will become the new driving force for our tourism. Speaking of red resources, I'm sure that members of the public are familiar with the Hong Kong Museum of the War Resistance and Coastal Defense. In new territories and rural areas, we have the Law Oak and the Cenotaph for Mothers in Wu Kao Tank, and the Hong Kong Shuttlecock Anti-Japanese Memorial Hall. You may think that there are relics of war resistance in the mainland. They are not really close to urban areas. By attracting visitors to the new territories, they will also able to appreciate the natural scenery of our rural areas. I think that we should develop red itineraries to provide more in-depth tourism options. In recent years, the panda economy have been developing very rapidly. Many years ago, we had the first pair of panda that were An and Jia Jia. In the first 2 years upon their arrival, 300 million of ticket sales been generated for Ocean Park. In 2007, Ying Ying and Lele came to Hong Kong. The summer activities in Ocean Park received large number of visitors. Now we have 6 pandas of different generations. Panda craze been sparked as a result. In order for us to continue with the development of panda economy, we must translate flow to economic benefits. There are different provinces with panda on the mainland. How do we attract visitors to come and spend? We have to highlight our uniqueness, and we have to distinguish ourselves from other provinces. Each panda has their own characteristics, and we should develop panda IP and create our own IP, panda IP industry chain, so that they become our new brand, especially the new pair of panda cups. If we live stream their growth, then that will strengthen their bond among Hong Kong people. The Ocean Park and the industry must continue to create different merchandises. They should highlight the different features and characteristics of pandas in their products. They should also work with the retail, catering, and hotel industry to organize panda-themed activities and events to drive the economy. The economic benefits generated by panda can fund conservation and preservation of pandas and cultural and creative industries. We should also create panda-related itinerary to enhance the ecological awareness of students and organize study tours. For people to appreciate the pandas, they have to purchase tickets for Ocean Park, and the price of the tickets is $498. For Macau, they allow visitors to appreciate panda free of charge. For Chengdu, it's $20. And Tokyo, 600 yuan. Chengdu, 15 yuan. Taipei, 200 Taipei dollars. Or Taiwan dollars. I think that the Ocean Park should look into categorizing their tickets to sell tickets to Panda Hall separately. They should also create panda merchandises to enhance spending. I so speak in support of Mr. Chan Yung's original motion and other members' amendment. Mr. Chan Yuet-ming. Deputy President, tourism will promote patriotic education through visiting historic relics and visiting Hong Kong Museum of History, attending seminars and talk. Members of the public will be able to know more about the history of the war of resistance and stories of our martyrs to enhance their sense of belonging. To develop red tourism, we can organize different activities such as operas, musicals, to enhance people's patriotism. By this, we can improve our patriotic education and enhance cultural exchanges among the people. I thank Mr. Chan Yong for moving the motion so that the administration will take proactive step in taking forward red tourism and the panda economy in Hong Kong. Our country gifted another pair of pandas to Hong Kong. This shows our country's care for our city. People are not only the audience, but also the guardians of our pandas. Apart from, I don't think that people are able to tell the difference between the pair of pandas, and they don't know about their dietary habits. Take me, for example. I didn't know that there was another name to panda in Chinese. I only knew about it after listening to Mr. Tang Fei on a radio station. And panda naming and painting competitions were being held earlier. I think that they were great, but I think that maybe Ocean Park can film a TV series on panda and organize a panda knowledge competition in 18 districts. By this, we can enhance people's understanding of the habitat of the pandas to foster a greater bond. We can designate August as the Panda Month because this is the month when our country gifted the pandas to Hong Kong, and this is the month when the panda cubs were being born. During Panda Month, the administration can organize a series of events and activities, for example, organizing panda-themed exhibition and showcasing the latest situation of the 3 pairs of panda to continue to spark the panda craze in Hong Kong. Panda elements can enrich our tourism and make it more diversified. Guangzhou has over 10 pandas, Shenzhen has 2 pandas. For Greater Bay Area residents, pandas in Hong Kong are not what motivate them to come. Over the world, there are only 18 countries and 22 zoos that have pandas. In Adelaide, in Australia, they now have 2 extra pandas. We have 3 pairs of pandas of different generation. This is attractive to international tourists. Our country has expanded the visa-free access policy. I think that a lot of people will make use of Hong Kong as a transit place of transit to enter into China. I think that we should be targeted in the sense that we should target our tourists. We should place advertisements at airport, at cruise terminal to bring our tourists to the ocean park. At different trails, the government can perhaps create murals, graffiti of pandas. They should also organize photography competition, social media lottery, so that after people have taken photos with pandas, they can share them on social media. This will enhance the exposure of pandas. I hope that the government will adopt a multi-pronged approach in fostering the bond between the pandas and the people to further enhance our attractiveness as a tourism destination and drive our economy. Deputy President, I speak in support of Mr. Chan Yung's motion. Next, Mr. Chan Kim-por. Thank you, Deputy President. Tourism is an economic pillars of Hong Kong. Now, these days, consumers tend to spend on experience instead of products. I thank Mr. Chan for moving the motion and other members for moving the amendments so that we can talk about how we can achieve a breakthrough to enhance our competitiveness. For us to revitalize the tourism industry, we can develop red tourism and panda economy. Now, I would like to focus on panda economy. Speaking of panda, people often think about Sichuan, but for Southeast Chinese residents, people tend to visit Hong Kong instead of Sichuan because they can come to Hong Kong by taking the express rail link. With the relaunch of multiple entry visas for Shenzhen citizens, I'm sure that more people will come. Now, An Ke met with the public a few days ago. I think that we should learn from the successful example of Chengdu and take this opportunity to develop a panda economy. There are over 200 pandas in the Conservation Foundation in Chengdu. The most famous panda there is called Hua Hua. It looks like a triangular dumpling when it's sit upright. Why Hua Hua is so popular? There are a number of short videos of it on the internet. Hua Hua did not defend themselves after being attacked. They take their time to eat, and people find Hua Hua very calm with intense competition on the job market, people are very stressed. That's why they watch so many videos of Hua. Pandas are often treated as one of a few of the animals in Ocean Park. However, we should elevate the pandas to superstar status in order for us to foster a robust panda economy. We should create merchandises and film videos of them, and we should have regards to the different features and characteristics of pandas to create cultural products and merchandises so that we can translate this kind of craze into economic benefits. And a museum in an aquarium in Japan live streams the life of the two otters. 24 hours a day, thousands of people have been watching how these otters swim in the aquarium. I think that the ocean park should learn from it. We should create a live stream channel for pandas so that we can popularize these two pandas and generate ticket revenue. There are panda-themed hotel rooms and cuisine. This will bring about unique experience to visitors and benefit different industries. Thank you, President.
李振強議員。
Mr. Lee Chun-kang. Thank you, Deputy President. We cannot be separated from our motherland. We need to make good use of the red tourism resources. I speak in support of the motion. We will have a better understanding of the history of the war of resistance, and we can also enhance our national confidence. Hong Kong Museum of the War of Resistance and Coastal Defense, Dongjiang Column, and so on. We need to make good use of these resources to show the contributions of our compatriots in the war of resistance against Japanese aggression. In order to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the founding of the CPC, we had a large-scale exhibition. There were a lot of pictures. So I do go along with constructing a museum for the history of the CPC to show the philosophy, founding background, as well as the history of the ruling party of our country. In the past 75 years, the CPC led us to move forward. Our country has made great strides. We have moved from the past to stability and prosperity. All of us have been plucked from poverty. We need to enhance our sense of belonging to our country, and we also need to allow the public to learn more about our ruling party. Through developing tourism routes, we can add VR and innovative technological elements. All these will enhance the travel experience of visitors. We can also design special e-games. I played a game when I was young. We can have a team of the Dongjiang Column, so young people will find it intriguing. We have a game that is all the rage right now. It allows the global audience to learn more about the special buildings in China. We can achieve complementarity and create more jobs with red tourism. This will be translated into economic benefits. I'd like to talk about panda economy that is all the rage in Hong Kong right now. I believe many members of the public have visited An and Keke. We need to thank the CPG for gifting us these pair of pandas. It shows our close connection and bonding with our motherland. The country has all along been showing care and concern for us. I visited Annan and Keke as well. They are adorable, they are in good spirits, they have already been accustomed to the new environment. The twin panda cubs can meet the public soon, so we need to leverage on this opportunity to rigorously promote the panda economy. Members have a lot of good views, say panda-themed restaurants, cuisine, check-in spots, and so on. Mr. Brave Chan mentioned we have a lot of young designers, and we do have the condition to create panda-themed souvenirs. I played Tamagotchi when I was young. Have you heard of it? We can make reference to different personality traits of pandas so that members of the public can electronically keep pandas as well. We can also stage exhibitions allowing members of the public to paint pandas, and we can start from school and educate students on pandas. Pandas are rare. The figure is 1,900 at present. We need to work with the Sichuan government as well as Ocean Park on studying as to conserving panda. We need to make concerted efforts in this regard. I speak in support of the motion as well as other amendments. Thank you, President. Mr. Robert Lee. Thank you, President. I speak in support of the original motion and other amendments. Taking forward red tourism and the panda economy in Hong Kong go a long way towards boosting the local economic development. I will revolve around these two fronts and make suggestions. We have a lot of red tourism resources. In Robin's Nest Country Park hiking trail, there are wartime relics, and in Clearwater Bay in Sai Kung, it was a relic site on the Hong Kong Independent Battalion of the Dongjiang Column. In different places all over Hong Kong, there are also wartime relics. Say we have Mount Davies hiking trail, and we also have a lot of wartime relics all over Hong Kong. We can enhance the public's understanding in this regard. We can leverage on our country's experience in taking forward red tourism. I visited a city in China, and I learned more about the history of the war of resistance against Japanese aggression. I suggest that the government should use technology to simulate the context or background back then in order to develop in-depth tourism experiences. We can also take this opportunity to take forward patriotic education. I agree with Mr. Kenneth LEUNG in his amendment to enhance the ancillary tourist facilities at tourism spots along the trail to make it convenient for visitors to go to these places. We need to organize study tours featuring different heroic figures in our war of resistance in order to take forward red tourism and economy. We need to separate store by the 3 pairs of panda in Hong Kong. We need to turn them into an industry for the sustainable development in Hong Kong. I also encourage the public to develop promotional activities and products in relation to panda. We can also create cultural and creative products in relation to panda to generate more revenue. The purpose is to take forward the panda economy in Hong Kong. Ocean Park should develop panda-themed restaurants, souvenir shops, and so on. We can ride on the panda craze and make good use of virtual reality and augmented reality to show the special features of panda. This will draw a lot of tourists. I also agree with what is mentioned in the amendment. That is, we need to work on the education front as well. There are panda bookstores in the mainland China selling panda-themed books. There are also panda souvenirs targeting different age brackets. Hong Kong is a metropolitan city. We need to spread our soft power in order to heighten awareness of panda conservation. This can tell the good stories of China and show China's commitment to protecting resources. We need to develop in-depth tourism and take forward panda economy to stimulate consumption in the retail sector. I so submit. Thank you, President. I speak in support of the motion. Ms. Maggie Chan. Thank you, President. I speak in support of Mr. Brave Chan's original motion and other amendments. In relation to developing red tourism, I agree with building a museum with a red tourism tour. And I make the following suggestions. We need to make full use of museum resources in Hong Kong. I agree with building the Hong Kong Museum of the War of Resistance and Coastal Defense. There's a lack of systematic development of museums in Hong Kong. We need to coordinate the resources of all the museums in Hong Kong as well as the proposed museums and private museums. We need to achieve synergy so there will be cross-departmental and collaboration involving the public as well as the government. For example, we need to develop red tourism roadmap of all the museums in Hong Kong. We need to connect museums to accommodation, cuisine, and so on. In relation to the Hong Kong Independent Battalion of the Dongjiang Column, we need to attach a lot of importance to this period of history. I thank the government for taking on board my view, that is to have an exhibition gallery in the Hong Kong Museum of the War of Resistance and Coastal Defense. We need to commend the 115 martyrs belonging to the battalion and those who are still alive in Hong Kong. We need to show the videos and other documentary movies on the War of Resistance that will deepen the understanding of the War of Resistance among members of the public. We need to also boost Museum Fest. We need to enhance the exchange and collaboration among museums. We also need to make good use of the 80th anniversary of the Victory Day of Chinese People's War of Resistance to work with the mainland China. We need to enrich the contents of the exhibits. We also need to ask the public to donate artifacts to us. We can introduce AI, virtual reality to enrich the contents of the exhibits in Hong Kong, thereby enhancing the level of exhibits in Hong Kong. We need to create camps based on the historical and wartime relics in Hong Kong. Say the LCSD will build a Chinese Culture Experience Center that is actually the former Whitfield Barracks in Kowloon Park. We need to make good use of this site to have a parent-child camp, to create a diversity of Chinese promotion culture. In relation to pandas, they have become the icons and highlights of Hong Kong. We need to develop the panda economy, and we also need to promote diversified economic development. I suggest giving different missions to each of the pandas in Hong Kong, say anime, culture, and creative industry products. We need to build a panda family in order to tell the good stories of Hong Kong. One, we need to have panda food ambassador to introduce the gourmet items in Hong Kong. That will add stimulus to the gourmet market in Hong Kong. We also need to have panda travel ambassadors to promote different tourist attractions in Hong Kong and to promote cultural and creative industry products. Next, we have to develop panda sports industries. We need to have panda ambassadors, and the National Games next year will be a good opportunity for us. We need to use panda to inherit and pass Chinese culture and promote good family values in Hong Kong. So this will help with the development of family traditions and family values. And this is the spirit of the Lion Rock. I speak in support of the motion of Mr. Brave Chen and other amendments. Thank you.
Mr. Chen Xiu-hong, President, I speak in support of Mr. Brave Chan's motion on taking forward red tourism and the panda economy in Hong Kong. I also support the amendments. I agree we need to develop red tourism. Back in 2002, as the policy address briefing, I already suggested that we should develop red tourism route. The idea of patriotic education should be included in the route to enhance national identity among people. Now, according to the red tourism development blueprint promulgated by the country, red tourism means the memorial sites and relics of the achievements of the communist revolutionaries. The objective is to encourage the spirits of revolutions and communism. Now, according to red tourism statistics compiled by various tourism platforms, ticket sales for red tourism sites is high, and also from the 19 million visitors in 2004, the number of visitors to red tourism facilities increased tenfold to 100 million people in 2019. There were a lot of historical figures who left their footprints in Hong Kong. For example, Premier Zhou Enlai once lived in Hong Kong. Ms. Hon Stanley once organized revolutionary activities in Hong Kong. And also another historical figure used a tea company in Hong Kong as a cover to gather anti-Japanese aggression supplies. There are a lot of sites which the government can turn into red tourism spots. Now, we should enhance the ancillary support to these relics and monuments, especially enhancing the visitor capacity of these sites so that more people can learn about our history during the anti-aggression war period. Now, many zoos keep pandas in them. Recently, a twin cub was born in the Berlin Zoo. Panda is creating a craze in the world. To ride on this opportunity, to stand out from this craze, we need to be creative. Now, there are 3 generations of pandas in Hong Kong's Ocean Park. Now, this is already a special feature of our zoo. It is very rare to be able to see panda cubs, even in Sichuan. Panda cubs are even cuter than their adult counterparts. So riding on this crucial opportunity, when the twin cubs are growing, we should create a panda celebrity effect and promote the twin panda cubs to visitors. For example, Fubao, even when they returned to Sichuan from Korea, a flock of fans still went to Sichuan to visit them. Now, panda products have increased from 100 to several hundred. Now, there are characteristic panda products themed on An and Ke, which are very attractive. Be it red tourism facilities or cute pandas, these are great attractions for visitors. However, the ocean park can't just rely on pandas to boost ticket sales. Other sectors, for example, catering, hotel, retail, and so on, should also think hard on how we can ride on the panda opportunity to create business. Now, the government should also diverse our traveling experience to attract overseas visitors and boost our economy. I so submit. Mr. Michael Look. Mr. Kenneth LEUNG. Mr. Kenneth LEUNG. President, Dr. Xia Balong said Hong Kong should adopt the concept of tourism is everywhere. The CSTB has completed the consultation process for Blueprint 2.0 for cultural and tourism industry. I hope that the results will be made available soon. Now, there were a lot of suggestions that we should develop red tourism and panda economy. So I, on behalf of the Hung Yi-Kuk, support the motion moved by Mr. Brave Chan today. Red tourism means tourism resources or sites in memorial, in remembrance of historical Communist Party figures. This is a kind of travel themed upon the country's past and history. Now, it has become a pillar of the country's traveling industry. According to the nation's statistics, there are more than 300 red tourism scenic spots in the country. Last year, visitors under the theme exceeded 2 billion, and it generated more than 1 trillion RMB. It provided a strong growth engine for local economy. In Hong Kong, we are blessed with a lot of red tourism resources, but they have been neglected for many years. Now, we have visited many red tourism resources. For example, the Law's House in Yuen Long. This is a base where the Dongjiang column saved a lot of people. The Morrison House was built in the 1940s. It was a post-secondary institution established by the Communist Party then. It was star-studded by professors and academic figures like Pt1 and Guo Moyue. It is now a heritage site, and also there is a house where Premier Zhou Enlai once lived in Hong Kong. Now, despite the richness of these resources, they were left derelicted, and private developers were not involved in the rehabilitation of these resources. Now, for rural areas, there are the Wu Gao Tang Memorial Monument for Martyrs, and also the Shuttlecock and the Japanese War Memorial Hall. The theme is the war of resistance against Japanese aggression. However, because of the remoteness, the beautiful scenery was not enjoyed by most visitors. President, we need to step up developing red tourism resources. It can diversify our tourism resources while helping us align with the national blueprint to allow visitors to understand the developments of our country's history. I support all the measures mentioned in the motion. I suggest the government to conduct a comprehensive assessment to collect data about all the red tourism resources in the territory and study how we can rehabilitate these destinations. More publicity should be conducted. Now, we have world-class hiking trails, attracting a lot of travelers from the mainland and the world. The government can study creating synergy between these hiking trails and red tourism resources and create a cultural hiking trail. Now, we are facing a lot of challenges, but there are also a lot of opportunities. This year, the country gifted a pair of panda cubs to Hong Kong again. Now, there are 6 pandas in the ocean park. Recently, 2,500 panda statues were transported to Hong Kong for exhibition. Now, the government and the sectors should be creative in creating business and showcasing our rich historical context and inject impetus to our traveling industry. Mr. Chu Guoquang. Thank you, President. I thank Mr. Brave Chan for his motion and the amendments moved by other members. It gives us an opportunity to discuss how we can take forward red tourism and the panda economy. Now, the definition of the red tourism in the mainland is memorial sites and artifacts showcasing the achievements made by the Communist Party during its revolution. Study tours and docent tours are conducted on these sites. Looking back at our history, the history of the Communist Party is closely linked to Hong Kong. From the Canton Hong Kong strike to the Dongshan column, after the establishment of the new China, the country's leaders made good use of our unique advantage to support the country's development. The country's opening up and reform created an economic leap for Hong Kong, and our return to the country was a historical moment. However, because of historical context, there are not a lot of historical revolutionary monuments, but we can still develop what we have. For example, the Shuttlecock and the Japanese War Memorial Hall and the Wu Cao Memorial Monument, as well as the Hong Kong Museum of the War of Resistance and Coastal Defense. The government should identify potential resources to showcase Hong Kong's important role as a facilitator and beneficiary in the country's opening up and reform. Now, in Shangshui and Fanlang, we often see the giant Dongjiang water pipe. It has become a famous check-in spot for many visitors. Now, back in the 1960s, when the country was in poverty, the country still made a great investment to build a water pipe to transport water to Hong Kong. It shows how much the country cares about Hong Kong. Now, next year is the 60th anniversary of the building of the Dongjiang water pipe. Now, if we can establish check-in spots and also an exhibition themed on where the water comes from, then together with the rich cultural resources nearby, we can develop a rich tourism route in the northern district. Now, I thank the government for accepting my idea to establish the dedicated museum for showcasing the country's developments in Kutong North. It will become a landmark tourism facility for the red tourism theme. Now, I hope the government will adopt innovative technologies, including AI, to showcase the country's emergence to prosperity and tell the good stories of Hong Kong's one country, two system. Now, panda economy is on the rise. The country has gifted a pair of panda cubs to Hong Kong, An and Keke, and together with the other 4 pandas, there are 6 pandas in Ocean Park. Now, the recent Hello Panda Outdoor Panda Carnival has attracted a lot of people to check in. Pandas are cute. They can become Hong Kong's mascot and generate economic benefits for Hong Kong. Now, we are very familiar with the Kuma, the bear mascot in Japan. Last year, it generated 8.8 billion Hong Kong dollars revenue for the province. Now, with a down-to-earth character background and cross-sectoral collaboration, the mascot was a success. So our panda economy shouldn't be a one-off push. We need to keep building the panda character as our mascot to implement the tourism is everywhere concept.
支持陳勇議
Mr. Chairman Kong. Thank you, President. I speak in support of the motion. In 2025, it is the 80th anniversary of the victory in the War of Resistance. I think that we should create a heritage trail for the War of Resistance involving Dongjian column so that we can tell good stories of Hong Kong and China. On the other hand, regarding the fifth and the sixth points in the motion, it is said that we should motivate the Ocean Park to seize the opportunities presented by the pandas by creating a panda celebrity effect, and that we should work with the cultural and creative sectors as well as the business sector to enhance Hong Kong's economy, vibrancy, and stimulate consumption. We have 6 pandas. I think that we should take this opportunity to develop exhibition and conference tourism and other forms of tourism to foster a greater bond between the pandas and the people and to inject impetus into our economy. I have a follow-up suggestions. The 14th year of war of resistance was a hard time. The Hong Kong and Kowloon Independent Brigade of the East River Column and the guerrilla forces fought fearlessly against Japanese aggression. They stopped the invasion and defended the coastline and the major trunk roads of our city. According to statistics, the people saved by the East River Column amount to 80. Mr. Chan Yuet-ming mentioned that the East River Column actually saved a colonel of the U.S. Air Force. I think that this is how we should tell good stories of Hong Kong and China, and we should encourage the Western countries to stand on the side of justice. In 2025, during the 18th anniversary of the victory of the War of Resistance, we should organize international forums to tell the stories of how the East River Column saved a lot of lives during the World War II and their contributions. Through photography, oral history, and relics, we can tell the stories, and we should translate them into different languages so that international tourists can learn about the history. We should also invite the offspring of the people who have been saved by the East River Column to come so that they can tell their stories. Now, I have 2 suggestions on the panda economy. First, we should develop thematic tourism and research tourism. Ocean Park is the only research and development base for the organization of study tours. As at 2023, we have 16 million students in the Greater Bay Area. If we can drive half of the students to the Ocean Park, then they would get a lot of revenue from ticket sales. Now we have 6 pandas of different generations. We can film local movies and TV series on these pandas so that we can attract tourists. There are over 70,000 non-local students studying in tertiary institutions in Hong Kong. I think that we should create a package for these students so that they will invite their family members to come. Take UK as an example. The higher education generated $40 billion of revenue. In 2023, we have 125 mega exhibitions. That's a 30% rise compared to 22. 1.3 million people came to Hong Kong to spend the night in order to attend these events. I think that we should revitalize our economy in this way. The meeting will be suspended until 9 a.m. tomorrow.